Welcome to Dynasty Trade Workshop. My man Dan Williamson and myself are going to go through some of our high stakes Dynasty teams, look at some trade proposals, look at buy, sell, holds, and hopefully you guys bring the trade questions in the chat today. We got a lot to get to. Let's get right to it.
District, you know the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man. Y'all know what to do. It's the and I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.
Welcome, guys. Happy Thursday afternoon, also known as game day. Dan, another game tonight, which is great, but still lots to do. It's only 3 weeks in. You and I, we talk about it often in the GOAT District. We share some teams, some in the high-stakes streets against some pretty sharp players. And let's face it, we've got some work to do. I mean, there's always work to do in Dynasty. That's one thing we preach. Always be trading. You always try and improve your team somehow, whether it's off the waivers or the trade lines. I mean, last night was waivers, some pretty interesting stuff. Like, I think we took some bids down off by $1, and then we lost some off by $1. You know, it's always the guessing game when it comes to the waiver wire. But we're going to talk trades today. We've got the chat, which is we're encouraging you all to drop your questions, any trade questions you have, any even lineup questions, anything you guys have for this week going into week 4, let us know. Dan, these are always fun. We used to do a similar show in the past, and we're kind of reviving it here, just talking Dynasty trades and going through our thought process.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's something that you need to be doing every week. Is just looking at your team, making honest assessments. What does it need? How can you get that? And maybe in some cases you might have extra assets that you can trade off either for picks or combine them to get a better asset or whatever. So you always want to be looking to see what you can do to improve your teams, like you said. So, and when you're co-owning, the beauty of that is you have 2 sources of ideas instead of just one, which I definitely appreciate. Because sometimes you look at things and you're just not seeing what's there, and then the other person comes along and all of a sudden it's like, bam! Oh, yeah, I never saw that. And that comes from both sides. So always fun to get together with you, JD.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that happens often with us, and I think that's why we do well with these shared teams. The first one I pulled up just because we have an offer in our inbox. I thought it'd be a great way to start, just to give a quick overview of the league. This is the Pros versus Joes, if you guys are familiar with it. Darren Armani, I believe, is he these ones, or does he just do the redraft ones?
He just does the redraft ones.
He just does the redraft ones. Okay.
Yeah, these were set up a few years ago when they were really trying to get the Dynasty program off the ground, and they just offered some leagues where it was industry people, and then average Joes could jump in there if they wanted, and so we were offered a spot in one of these leagues, and we've been at it. I mean, this league has been going since 2020, so this is now the 6th year of the league.
It's been going a while. We had definitely had a better season last year. I can't remember how we finished in this one for some reason, but
I think we finished second.
Yeah, I knew we turned it around, and a lot of it had to do with these exact sessions where you and I would, whether it was on WhatsApp or we did some live streams where we put our heads together and try to find ways to improve this roster. So we're starting off nicely right now. We're 2-1 in this league. You guys will recognize some of the owners in here. Smash Accept is a guy that's really active on X. He's doing really well with his YouTube channel. Make sure you check him out. He's sent us an offer. Remind me, Dan, some of the other guys in here, some of the RotoViz guys I know are in here.
Yep. So you've got Curtis and
That's
Sean
right.
from RotoViz.
Yes.
They're in here. Like you said, Smash Accept. Pat Carrain from former RotoViz now does Legendary
Upside.
Upside. Yeah, that's it. That's what it is. Dynasty Trades HQ. That's
John Hogue.
No, not John Hogue.
I forget now. Wow.
It'll come to me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we can go look at the owners. Anyways, we'll get the name straight with the other owners.
It's Madman. That's who it is.
That's it, Madman. Yes,
Yeah.
You guys know Madman. So some just to say, like, these are some pretty sharp leagues. So we're coming back this year. Hopefully, Dan and I can pull off the win and have a bit better season than our second place last year. So just to list off the team right now, it is a super flex team. So those who don't know, FFPC is tight end premium across the board. The difference between the super flex teams and the 1QB teams is you get 2 flex spots in the 1QB teams. And with the super flex teams, you only get the 1 flex and the 1 super flex. So it does make a bit of a difference. If you put your quarterback in, you can only add 1 other positional player. You start 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and then you've got kicker and defenses. So you can see our team here: Lamar, A-Chain. We've got Tootin in as our RB2 right now. Tyreek Hill, Cortland Sutton, A.J. Brown at receiver, Tucker Kraft at tight end, Sam Darnold, and then a bit of depth at quarterback here with Milroe and Dylan Gabriel. And then we've got Tyrone Tracy, unfortunately, just got injured. Ollie Gordon, which is a nice kind of upside rookie play. Kenneth Gainwell, who's found a nice role in Pittsburgh. I believe that was off of waivers. And then we've got Matthew Golden, Torrey Horton, Pat Bryant, some nice rookie receivers on our bench, and then Hunter Henry, who just popped 33 points, and Juwan Jennings, who's the early season darling at the tight end position. We've got Aaron Jones and Phil Maffa in the IR box.
Yeah, so, like, spot the glaring weakness in this team. It's definitely running back.
Yeah, it's definitely running back. And the thing with running back is it's hard to really plug that hole in off waivers unless there's like a glaring, obvious, injury like we've seen now in New York. We're starting to see Tootin kind of become more part of that backfield with Etienne. So there are some spots where you might get lucky, and if you spend the right amount, most of the time on the waivers you want to be ahead of the game and get the guys before that opportunity pops for them. So it's a position that it's kind of contradictory, right, Dan? Because you kind of want to draft your running backs and trade for receivers, but when you need to fill some roles and add some depth, I mean, you got to trade for whatever your team needs, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we were okay with Aaron Jones until he went down. That was not exactly the most unpredictable outcome, but anyway, happened a little bit sooner than we hoped. We hoped that Tyrone Tracy and or Bashal Tootin would be filling in by then. Of course, Tracy went down with an injury of his own. Tootin is still on the way up. So, for a team with championship aspirations, it's time for us to go out and find ourselves a running back.
All right, so let's look at the offer we got from Smash Accept. He's taking advantage of Jordan Mason. He's a guy I think we were both really high on. He's a guy I've got big bags of specifically for this. It was Aaron Jones, age-wise, volume-wise. Obviously, we like that offense in Minnesota, and he's a guy that I thought if he had the opportunity could definitely take hold of that workhorse role, and we saw him pump out 2 touchdowns this past week. So we're being offered Mason Jordan and a second-rounder for our Bashal Tootin and a first rounder. So clearly, our buddy over at Smash Accept doesn't know how much you love yourself some Tootin' Dan. I mean, we both do, let's face it. But I know he's got a special place in your heart.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think Tootin is a player on the rise. It's this is not a deal that I would even really remotely consider, because basically it's the old, hey, I'm gonna see if I can turn my second into a first, grab a player that I know is likely to ascend, and trade you a player that probably has a somewhat capped ceiling. So it's kind of a well, you've heard the Goat District theme song. Put in a few more pieces, try to confuse them. That's what's going on here. So I think we're probably not going to take this. But the thing is, what he is telling us is Jordan Mason is available. So let's see if there's something we can do for him.
Yeah, and I think that's what's important here is when someone sends you an offer, whether it's, I mean, let's face it, most of the time it's rare that you get an offer and you're like, smash accept. And when you do, you're like in shock. Like I'll message Dan and I'll be like, Dan, am I missing something? Is this like smash accept? And then you'll either like knock some sense into me and be like, what are you thinking? Or you'll be like, you should have pressed a button before you message me, to accept that trade. So what I see a mistake players do is they don't take the opportunity when they get an offer we just talked about the needs we have, what kind of improvements we want to make. Like you said, he's letting us know that he's interested in that he's willing to send Jordan Mason if the price is right. So in this case, Dan, I mean, normally I'd just send like a little thank you for the offer. We'll look at a counter type of message, and then I'll press the counter button. You good with that?
Yep. Yeah, we can do that.
And then that way, at least you're politely letting them know you appreciate them sending you offers, because there's nothing worse than like a boring Dynasty league where you're not necessarily getting offers on a regular basis. So it gives you the opportunity here on the FFPC to look at both rosters here. Let me just look at the league quickly. I know we're only 3 weeks in, but first thing I'll do is I'll go look at where these guys are in the standings. So right now we're second in our division, fourth overall in the league, and he's at the bottom of his division at 1-2, and one of the lowest scoring teams, like the third lowest scoring team in the league. So he's probably, like you said, getting rid of pieces that are going to benefit him this year and trying to accumulate draft picks or assets that'll help him, in the future.
Yep, definitely. And, looking at our roster and looking at his roster, he's set pretty well at tight end, which is unfortunate because that's a position where we have some excess with Hunter Henry and Juwan Johnson and Tucker Kraft. We could definitely afford to send a tight end, but he's sitting there with Tyler Warren and Jake Ferguson. So that's probably not going to go anywhere. He might be looking, I'm guessing if he's on a rebuild, he's going to be looking for more youthful assets. He's already indicated an interest in Tootin. And that's, Tootin is somebody that we might send, but, not with a first, for sure. I'm looking at, just on Keep Trade Cut, it's just a nice place to kind of get some valuations, and Bashal Tootin and Jordan Mason are actually pretty close in value. Tootin valued a little bit less. So, that would be one way that we could go about it. But the problem is we really need to,
to add.
We need to add a running back, not, add one and take one away. So I think that we're looking at, we're probably looking at, probably trading away a wide receiver. If he's on a rebuild, I think Matthew Golden would probably be an attractive piece for him, but that's worth more than Jordan Mason. So we might want to do something different, or we could try the Torrey Horton and a piece type thing. Yeah,
because and that's one thing again that I want to outline is you guys are hearing Dan. Like the first thing you want to do is look at your opponent's team. Like if they're stacked at a position, don't I mean, there's always a chance they're interested in a player, but you're trying to help their team as much as your team. That's the best way to try to get a deal done. You're not just sending offers of guys that you want to get rid of, versus and receiving players that you want to add to your roster. You want to look at their roster and think, like, put yourself in their shoes, and think, like, what can help them, but also help us get to our goal. I think Golden right now, Dan, we started talking about this a bit because I was being offered in a triflex a bit of GNT, and it was someone trying to get my Golden and my Burden. There's still room for that value to grow with Golden, and maybe if we can avoid moving him right now, because let's face it, we only have 6 receivers and 3 of them are rookies, right? And one of them is Tyreek Hill. So we don't know what happens there. Is he going to be someone we can use all season? AJ Brown's starting to pop. I wasn't really worried there. Sutton, he's on an average, he's pretty good as like your wide receiver 2, or flex if needed. So it's just a matter of, do we try to move Horton, who's just had, he is coming off of a bigger week, isn't he? Or am I just,
so Horton's coming off a solid week. He got in this format, he scored 0, 11.2, and 18.2 points so far this year.
And he's a guy that, in all fairness, like, if they keep giving him volume, I mean, he could be a really nice player going into this season. I know I drafted him in rookie drafts, and he was on waivers in some leagues this past week, or this week actually. So again, it's one of those where you're trying to plug in a hole with an ascending piece, right, in value, Dan. But at the same time, I mean, Jordan Mason right now, pretty solid if we can get him as our RB2, as opposed to, and then keeping Tootin for like a flex position maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that we have Aaron Jones makes Jordan Mason even a little bit more attractive because, no matter what happens there, we've got we got a running back that we want out of Minnesota. What do you think about this? What if we offered Torrey Horton in a second for Jordan Mason in a fourth?
In a fourth. Yeah, I mean, value-wise, it seems pretty fair. And I mean, we're talking calculators here, and I think it's kind of one of those where a lot of guys don't want to talk about it. They act like they're just putting trades together in their head and sending them out. Dan and I use them because, and we'll use more than one. Normally, you and I, when we're talking, we'll plug it into 2 or 3 of them just to, you figure it's somewhere in the middle is where you find that sweet spot value-wise. So that way it's not just solely based on your biases, when you're sending these offers out, especially for the players on your team, because we always value our players more, Dan, it seems. So I think value-wise, it seems pretty straightforward, pretty even. I think it helps us out in a place where we need. I mean, could Torrey Horton blow up and be, a top receiver in the league, maybe top 20? I think that is possible. Or did he just have, a couple really good games in an offense that's had a couple of good weeks? There's so many ways you can look at this. The way I see it is we need a running back, and Jordan Mason, for me, could easily be an RB1 the rest of the season. Even if Aaron Jones comes back, if Mason is just crushing, they'll give Jones a role for sure. But I think Mason, and he's still young, right, Dan? If I'm not mistaken, still 26. Still young enough. 26. Young enough, and let's face it, he was playing a backup role, before he came in and showed us what he had early last year in San Fran.
Yeah, definitely. So, and this offer kind of passes the smell test to me. I like to, before I even try to put anything into a trade calculator, I try to say, does this offer make sense to me? If I was on the receiving end of this, would I feel like, this is in the ballpark? And then I'll just kind of check my work with the trade calculator and see if it's, sometimes I'm way off because I sometimes you way overvalue a particular player. Often it's a player on your own team just because, since he's on my team, he must be worth more, right?
Yeah, and I mean, he did try to get Tootin back. Maybe he's trying to just get youth back at the running back position. But if he's not competing this year, he will have the opportunity to build up whichever position he needs. He's not necessarily looking like, maybe he's thinking, I'd rather get like an Ollie Gordon back or something. But with the way our team is built right now, we're trying to add running backs, not necessarily swap them. So should I press the send button on this one, Dan?
Yeah, let's go ahead and send that one, and then let's take a look and see if there's any other teams that might be able to help us out.
So I usually, and Dan, tell me if this is something you do or not, but I'll usually look at the standings and I'll start with the lower teams. Like if I'm a contending team, I'll start, like there's a team right now that's 0-3, that Cavalry, Golden Tank. So I'll usually start there and see, like they've got Kamara. Obviously, as if they're in a rebuild or they're not necessarily going to compete this year, he's a piece that we could technically go after. They've got Keenan Allen there that is, maybe a piece that they could move if we were going to send them some youth at receiver. And then they've got Deebo Samuel as well, like looking at their, more vet type of players. They've got Rashee Rice, who's coming back soon, but he's a younger player that they might want to keep. And they've got Patrick Mahomes, so that's something I look at. They're probably stacking those two.
Yeah, so I think, it probably makes sense to try to make a play for Kamara here. You can also see from the rosters that he is he's collecting picks.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, that's exactly what I noticed. You could see the 2 firsts and the 2 seconds there. So Dan's right on the money, and 2/3. So when a player has that, they're collecting picks. So chances are they want picks back for some of these players that they're going to move.
Right. So I think we could probably, Kamara, I think is probably going to go for, I would say, a second plus.
The nice thing is he's coming off of a pretty tough game against Seattle. Always, little details, but things I look at, you're not necessarily buying high, when it comes to him coming off of like a 20-30 point game.
Yes, exactly. So that would be something where we could maybe, I don't want to send Horton plus a second on this one because, Kamara is a good bit older. So I think the shelf life on him is basically this year, and anything we get past that is pretty much bonus.
He's also pretty deep at receiver, Dan. If you look, like he's got a lot of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 pretty solid receivers. I mean, his worst one's Watson, obviously, but otherwise his receivers are pretty solid.
Yeah, so maybe we could do just straight picks if we did like a second and a third. I think that would be enough to get it done. Should be enough to get it done. Whether it will be enough.
Yeah, like value wise, when I'm looking at keep trade cut, it's actually just the second that you need, but we're going to him. In this case, it's not like he sent us an offer, and I think that's also an important factor. Is if someone sent you an offer, you kind of make the values a little more even. But if you're just going out to guys trying to buy players, I usually, and Dan, I know you're good at this as well, is I always try to add a little bit of sweetener to the deal to entice them to maybe want to make that move.
Yeah, exactly. And trying to buy running backs in season is always the most expensive thing because they're so hard to find because everybody wants to have 3 starters at minimum they feel comfortable with. So in a way, you're either looking for a team that's got 4 starters at running back, which is pretty rare to find, or you're looking for a team that is, giving up on the year and willing to sell off those running backs, even if they don't really have enough to compete. So
P90 Camper, we see your question, by the way. We'll get to that as soon as we're done with this team. So, I mean, me, Dan, I'm always trying to see if we can save a little here, save a little there. Would you start with a second and a fourth, or you want to go straight to the second and the third?
I mean, this Golden Tanks guy, he does a lot of Dynasty, got a lot of Dynasty teams. I don't get the sense he's going to go for a second and a fourth from past dealings. I think we come in with the second and the third and see what he says, and we don't have 2 seconds, so he can't up the offer that way. I mean, I think we're kind of showing, hey, if he thinks he's getting a first for Kamara, he's crazy. So if there's a different player that he would want instead or something like that, he might send something back like that. Like, I would not be surprised to get a counter that includes Tootin coming back. Everybody is going to want Tootin as a return piece, but, we're just going to be saying no to that.
Any way to somehow get Keenan Allen back in this deal? Like if we threw in Pat Bryant or something like that? Would you want to do that?
We'd have to throw in more than that. And really looking at our receivers, I mean, I guess I'm maybe a little bit less concerned about Tyreek Hill than you are for this year. But we've got Brown, Hill, Sutton, and then Matthew Golden coming on.
And then even Horton as long as we keep Horton, he's a nice flex. I guess if we lost Horton, that might be more attractive. But since we're just sending picks, all right, you want to start with that second and a third for Kamara?
We could start with that, or he has a little bit later at tight end. He's got Evan Ingram and Jonnu Smith. Evan Ingram has been
AWOL.
Very disappointing so far. So
what's the deal with that? Do you even know what's happening? Because I've got him in places and I don't even know what to do. Like, do I drop him? Do I keep him? Like, I have no idea.
I think you got to keep him for now, but he's apparently had calf problems, back problems, and we don't know is his lack of usage when he was playing because he was just not fully healthy, or is this Joker stuff really jokes on you? Haha. I don't know.
Yeah. So what are you thinking, Juwan Johnson?
So that would be the other way, is we could throw in, instead of the third, if you wanted to hang on to the third, we could throw in Juwan Johnson or Hunter Henry. I think either one might get the job done. Hunter Henry, a little bit older. Juwan Johnson probably has more dynasty value at this point, being 2 years younger, and he's getting a ton of targets, whereas Hunter Henry had 2 good games and 1 game that was very useless.
See, I'm kind of stumped here because usually when we put offers out, I like giving owners options. Like if I can send them 2 or 3 different offers, I feel like there's a higher chance of them taking one of those offers, especially if you formulate them the right way. It's like a sales tactic I used to use. I'll offer like 3 deals and one of them is the one I want them to take. So I'll make that one the most attractive. But I also really like having those 3 tight ends in a tight end premium like this. So why don't we start with the Kamara and the 2 picks? I feel like he's going to if he's, I don't want to say if he's smart, but I feel like if he is kind of giving up on the season already, starting at 0-3 and is maybe coming to terms with that, he should come back to us with a counter.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll send second and a third for Kamara, see what he says there. Oh, we got to drop someone here, it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Those are always fun. Pat Bryant? Or
what's that?
Pardon?
I think we'd probably be dropping Gainwell. It's tough to drop Milroe when we have Sam Darnold. Tough to drop Dylan Gabriel because I think at some point they're going to come off of Flacco and go to Gabriel.
Yeah, Superflex though is hard to just drop a quarterback too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think Gainwell is kind of the guy who's, unless something happens to Jalen Warren, Gainwell is just, he's going to be kind of that, 3 to 8 points a week type of guy.
Now, here's another question, just because Gainwell's been pretty popular on the waiver wire, and we are taking a running back from this guy. Would you go back and include Gainwell in the offer and maybe let him know in the notes, like we either drop Gainwell or we send him to you in the deal?
Yeah, we could do that. That would make sense.
Because then he's at least getting someone he can plug in.
Right.
Either way, we're dropping him.
Yep. And that makes them offer just a little bit more, potentially, a little bit better.
even know how to word it.
I usually just say Gainwell was going to be our drop, so we're throwing him in the offer. You can do what you want with him. You know, because the one thing you don't want to do is put a crap player in an offer and have the other manager be thinking that, oh, he thinks this guy actually has value, because a lot of times that has more of a tendency to, you know, piss people off. Like, oh yeah, he's just trying to trade the trash from the bottom of his roster from like.
Yes, that's kind of why I want to make sure I put notes in, because I don't want it to look like that.
Exactly.
All right. So we got 2 deals done. Go back to the rankings here and see. You've got another. Actually, the Dynasty Trade HQ guys are 0-3 as well.
Yep.
They've got. They've got my favorite guy, Dan, who everybody's saying is a sell right now, Kenneth Walker. He's got Scattaboo, who they're probably not moving.
Yeah, they also might be willing to move Hubbard, who would be a nice fit as well.
And he's coming off of a down game, which is weird too, because they crushed at home against Atlanta there.
Right.
So, yeah, this is probably one where we can put a couple deals together and see which one they prefer. Maybe we go after Walker, we go after Hubbard.
Yeah, I think so. Hubbard is going to be the somewhat cheaper option, so.
Now, right off the bat, these guys are pretty much like in the late RB1, early RB2 range value-wise. Probably closer to the late RB1 range. So is this a spot where we're back to Torrey and a pick, or are we going, let me look at his receiver. He's actually pretty slim at receiver. BTJ hasn't done anything yet. Harrison's, yeah. I mean, he's got like some decent receivers, but not super deep.
Yep. I think we could go, a second and Torrey would probably be about right for Chuba. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's probably where, that's about right. I don't know if that's enticing me if I'm selling Kenneth Walker, or sorry, I got Kenneth in my brain. If I'm selling Chuba or one of these 2 running backs, I don't know that it's enticing enough, but again, sometimes it's just a matter of letting them know what you're trying to do, and they come back with an offer that's, that helps both teams type of thing. So we can send that as one.
Okay.
And then now, do you think Gainwell, I got to stop saying Gainwell. Do you think Walker has similar value here, or do you think he's worth a bit more now with the start he's had?
Yeah, I think Walker is going to go for more than Hubbard for a couple of reasons. He's a little bit younger, for one. He's a running back on a better team. Both of them have a little bit of a thorn in the side. Hubbard has Dowdle, and Walker has Charbonnet. So I think we'd have to put together something a little bit better.
Is this
Walker.
where, do you think Golden comes into the picture here?
Yeah, probably. That
like
might
a straight swap?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would probably be the way to go, and just offer that.
Which sucks because they're playing Dallas this week, and it's like, to me, it's like his breakout game, just coming just around the corner.
Yeah, you could be right, but sometimes, to get a good deal, you gotta. And this is something he'll have to move fast on, because Walker plays tonight. So if he doesn't move on it before game time, we'll be pulling the offer. Just because we wouldn't be able to use Walker then.
Okay, so I'll send that out. Walker for Golden?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That seems pretty close to fair to me. Golden is one of those players that, you know, different people value him very, very differently.
Well, he was polarizing coming into the season. You know, even coming into the NFL draft, he was polarizing.
Yep.
All right, let's see what other teams.
I was just looking on a couple of calculators. Keep Trade Cut says that Kenneth Walker's the more expensive piece, and then I look on Player Profiler, and they have Golden as a more expensive piece by a pretty good amount. So
yeah, which usually means they're probably about the same in value. Yeah.
Yep.
So I've got Shelley's team up here, Andrew.
Yep.
He definitely has a bunch of quarterbacks. Pretty decent team, but like I don't really see a weakness is what I'm saying. He's got Pickens, Devontae. I mean, maybe receiver is a little weaker for him.
Yeah, he would definitely be interested in Golden. I feel very sure about that.
But the problem is, who could we go after where is worth moving other than Hampton?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, you know, you'd probably be looking, and that'd be fine. I mean, you know, a second plus Golden for Hampton, I don't know if that would get it done. That seems kind of fairish to me.
And we know Andrew likes his receivers. Yeah, maybe we'd have to throw a third in with that. Let me just see here. Yeah, I think a third or a fourth. Here's another thing, just little pointers I want to, you know, just to add value to the show for you guys is if I'm buying a player, like I'm upgrading at a position, I feel like I need to, again, add a little to the deal. I'm not trying necessarily to send like, you know, even value, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, and Andrew may tell us to go pound sand because he's looking to compete as well. So, but who knows? Getting Golden might make it a little bit more worthwhile for him.
The Najee injury doesn't help us right now, Dan.
No, it does not. Yeah, would have been a much better offer last week than this week. But I mean, I think we can send Golden in a second just to, you know, get the conversation started. See what he says. Because Andrew and I talked. We text back and forth all the time because we run a couple teams together, and we kind of knock things around dynasty wise when he has some ideas for his teams or I have some ideas for my teams, and we tell each other we're crazy or go for it or whatever. So,
Dan, I have some good news. Do you want the good news or the bad news?
All right, what's the good news?
We got a deal done.
Hey. All right.
So we got Kamara for Gainwell, a second and a third.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So
I like that.
That is actually pretty nice. I mean,
Yeah,
we both like the prospect of Horton, and he's actually popping pretty early, but sometimes that gives you the opportunity to use those players as a chip. So,
Yep.
I mean, Kamara's pretty nice in our running back 2 spot right now with A-Chain. All right.
Yeah, definitely. Love it.
Perfect. Look at that. We got one done on air, Dan. How often does that happen? I love it. Okay. So let's go to the hard way.
And that still leaves our Golden for Kenneth Walker. That still leaves that one active. How do you feel about that? Do we want to leave that one active or no?
I might leave it.
Okay.
I think I'd still do that deal.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I feel like you said, we've got 3 pretty solid receivers. As much as I'm iffy with Hill this year, and what he could also get traded to, wherever, and just he could be traded to Dallas or something if like the CD thing kind of drags, or maybe he goes back to KC or whatever. But I feel like for some players, I'm willing to send the upside in Golden, and Hampton is definitely one of them.
Yeah, without a doubt. And the nice thing is also in these Superflex leagues, because you have so many quarterbacks rostered, a lot of times that leaves some wide receivers that are at least startable on a week-to-week basis sitting on the waiver wire. So I'd rather be weak at wide receiver than running back.
100%.
Because I can, I feel like we can pick up an emergency starter if we really, really needed to. But I don't think we're going to need to. I mean, I feel like we're in good shape there.
So Dan, I went into Hardway and I noticed you've already started putting some bids in. Should we delete that?
Hang on. Let me take a look here. I forget what I put in.
Can always put it back in. I can delete it and.
Yeah, we can just delete all that. It's
come
just
back to that
just basically because we have an open roster spot since Najee Harris went on IR.
True.
So
look at that. Harris and Connor are 2 old guys.
Yeah, and CeeDee Lamb also went down with he's doubtful for this week. This team is taking some hits.
Maybe talk about this league, Dan. This is one of the toughest leagues probably out there, dynasty-wise, period, I think, with the competition we're up against, and we've had pretty good success in it so far.
Yeah, definitely. So this was a league that just kind of got started from a group of us that had back in the day it was Twitter, and we just had a DM going where we would, kind of talk about, players during the off season who we were really liking, who we weren't really liking, a lot of player debates, just a lot of good back and forth banter. And we just decided, let's form up a dynasty league. And so it's got Theo Grimminger in there, it's got Austin Martin, it's got Andrew, it's got
Abib's in this one, no?
Abib is in this one now. We have Noah Riddell is in here. And we also have pulled in like Smoking Joe's. That's Joe Van Gogh, who does a ton of Dynasty. We have Sports Betting Man in here, Lance. He's a great guy. One of my buddies, Greg Chabot, who runs Nitschke's Saltwater Safari. So we got a lot of really, really good Dynasty owners in this thing. Makes it for a lot of fun.
Dan, I don't want to break my promise. I told, let me see if I can pull it up here. Why is it not showing up? We have a question. Let me see if I can, why is this here? There we go. Let me just get that in here. I don't know why that's like that. Excuse the on-screen production here, people. There we go. So we have a question from P90 Camper. Appreciate you guys. And if you're, in the chat, just drop any questions you have. Even after the show, if you guys watch this post live and you have some trade questions, drop them in the comments. We'll get back to you on those. So P90 Camper asking quick redraft question with dynasty implications. I don't know what that means.
I think it just means it's a redraft, but it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So rest of season, do you like Coker or Butte? Actually, you know what? You came to the right place because those are two Dan guys right there, Butte and Coker.
Yeah, I think, as far as when he's healthy, Coker is probably the player I prefer by a pretty good amount. The problem is that one guy is healthy right now and the other guy isn't. He's still on IR. The way that the coach was talking, he is probably not coming off of IR as soon as he's eligible after this week. So we're probably looking at, he could be missing 3 more weeks because he said Coker is week to week.
Yeah.
And I don't like hearing week to week. Day to day means could be a week or two. Week to week means it could be, it's probably 2+ weeks from whatever time that sentence was uttered. So I would say you're probably looking at him coming back like maybe week 7 at the earliest. So I think you have to decide is the production right now, which isn't much, admittedly, from Boutte, worth more than Coker. If we're talking a deep reserve on your team, I'm just going to take Coker, stick him on my bench, and just let him sit there. If you're getting to the point where you feel you might need to start him in the next 3 weeks, then you probably got to go Boutte.
And just thinking about those two offenses, Dan, like the New England Patriots are still figuring out roles, figuring out the situation. They've got a younger quarterback, they've got younger receivers coming in, younger running back in Hendo. So P90 saying it's his wide receiver 5. So, I mean, unless you're starting 3 or 4 receivers in that league, I think you can probably keep Coker, because Coker should get a role back. I know we've seen Renfroe kind of fill in nicely while he's gone, but Leggett to me is just Leggett. I'm not really worried about him. So I think Coker probably has a role when he gets back.
Yeah, I think so. He's he was very impressive last year in the action that he got.
Nice. All right. Appreciate the question, P90. Let's get back to this one the hard way. So this is not a super flex. This is 1 QB. You've got Justin Herbert and Jaden Daniels, a couple pretty sweet quarterbacks that we get to decide between every week. We've got Kyron Williams, Bashal Tutin, of course, RJ Harvey, Kyle Monangai, and Brashard Smith at running back. We've got Pearsall, Pittman, Lamb, like we talked about, is injured now. Calvin Ridley, who has not done what we thought he could or would. Marvin Mims, Malik Washington, and Tyreek Thornton. Apologies. Don't want to make you guys dizzy. We have James Conner and Najee in the IR box. And then we've got our 3 pretty studly tight ends in Brock, TJ Hawk, and Hunter Henry.
Right. And yeah, we don't have to worry about Connor or Harris coming back this year. So basically, again, this is a team that really needs some running back help. We're kind of waiting for RJ Harvey to pop, and I think we probably want to throw Harvey into our lineup instead of Tutin this week, just because Tutin is still kind of ailing a little bit, and Harvey is more healthy. And we at least got rid of that 3rd running back in Denver. Last week it was a 2 running back rotation between Dobbins and Harvey. So really, I
don't know that we have necessarily like a glaring weakness. Is there something specific that you see, Dan? I mean, we've got 3 tight ends that we can pretty much start every week if we wanted to. When they're not
I think we're great at wide receiver and tight end. I think we've got a good amount of depth. We've got 3 startable wide receivers, and Thornton right now is actually quite startable. I think he'll probably be startable until Rashee Rice comes back. So that's kind of a temporary Band-Aid that'll probably get us through until CeeDee Lamb comes back.
So is this a situation where we're trying to upgrade similar to what we just did and get ourselves maybe a stronger RB2/RB3 in this lineup?
Yep. Yeah, I think that's exactly what we want, because this is a team that should be competing for a title in this league, and we're 1-2 because we had a terrible week last week. Not so much as far as like potential points, but we were terrible managers and put the wrong players in. So, which is one of our strengths, Dan. Picking the wrong guys. We're very good at that. Sometimes.
I see your questions, Matthew and Landon. We will get to those questions. Keep dropping the questions, guys. We're going to answer all of them. As soon as we're done with this team, we'll get to your questions. So I pulled up G-Dubs. He's a buddy of ours. He's just a fun guy in fantasy, and he's active in the DMs, always showing us those nice pictures of gourmet foods and high-end golf courses that he's just living that lavish life. But in all seriousness, I mean, he's 0-3 right now. So basically last in the league. And again, I know it's after 3 weeks, so we're not saying like these teams have to kind of throw their hands up in the air and give up the season. But strategically, this is something I've always done, is I go to the weakest teams first. as a contender and see if I can pick off of theirs. We saw it work in that first team that we worked in. We ended up getting Kamara right away while we were on air, which was nice. So looking at this team, I mean, he's got like the Caleb Johnsons, which is like depth piece. Bucky Irving is a piece that would be pretty interesting to go after. Like he's got some good young running backs in Caleb, Scadaboo, Woody Marks. And then he's got like the Ramondre, Mixon kind of, older guys that, I mean, Ramondre is probably easier to get right now on the super cheap just because he's got the fumbling issue, but I don't know that that's necessarily something we're looking for. For me, I always like to aim high first, so I'd probably try to get Bucky off of him. I don't know if that's a possibility.
I'm not sure we can do it with our roster and picks because we're missing our first. And
we're missing our first. True. I didn't see that.
He's going to want a first.
Yeah.
Probably included in the deal somewhere, or we'd have to send somebody like CeeDee Lamb, who, I don't really want to send him either. So
not good for business.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Nitschke's Saltwater Safari. Greg Chavitt's team. So he's got Bijan. He's got he's kind of in the same hole we are. He's got one good running back and some hope.
a lot of hero RB builds, Dan, in these leagues.
Right, exactly.
Do we go to Shelley? Let's go to Andrew again, maybe. See what he's got.
See what he's got.
So he's got Corum, Braylon. Yeah, he doesn't have much at running back, actually, at all. He's got Pollard.
Yep. He's got Pollard and Hope.
Yeah. All right. This is Stay Ready. Right now they're 3-0.
Yep, that's Abib's team.
Yep. Benjamin.
And I think...
What is Theo doing? He's at 1-2 right now. I don't think Theo's one to just give up on the season.
No.
Based on my experience, but...
And especially not when he's already thrown out his first round pick. You can, if you take a look and you see that a team has already spent their first round pick, they're not going to give up on the season very quickly.
Another great tip. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Who's CD's nuts? Is that Noah?
That's Noah, yeah.
What does he have? He's got Breece Hall, Barkley, Javonte. Oh, he's got something here. We got Trey Benson. I mean, he's a Dallas guy, so I wouldn't necessarily go after his Dallas guys.
Yeah, though he'll tell you he's not a Cowboys fan.
I know he knows. He's got CD's nuts as his his name.
Yep. But yeah, I think with Saquon, Breece, Javonte, Trey Benson, he's definitely got the depth. We might see if we can make a move for Javonte or potentially Breece. I'm guessing Benson he'll be a little bit more reluctant to part with, but
yeah, a guy you keep on your bench finally gets the opportunity. It's hard to move him right before he plays that first game, as the workhorse. So, I mean, Javante's another guy you keep hearing, people all over X and in fantasy land saying that he's a sell. Just any guy that comes in with low expectations that starts off strong like he did, which to me, it just makes sense. Like he was the guy going into the season and they need somebody in Dallas to run the rock. But, he's got blue, so maybe he's trying to keep those two together, but maybe he likes selling, quote unquote high on Javonte right now.
Right. Yeah. We could probably, he looks like he probably needs a little bit of help at wide receiver because once you get past Drake London, then it's Devonta Smith, who's kind of up and down, Diggs, who's been more down than up, Josh Downs, who's been more down than up, and Pat Bryant, who hasn't really fired yet. So I wonder if we could move a player like Pittman.
Yeah, that's why I pulled him up there. I was thinking, I'm just trying to see, like, what do we have left? I mean, you hope Ridley starts. I'm not that worried about Ridley because, again, Dan, my whole, rapport with the quarterback, this is a rookie quarterback. Maybe I'm an idiot for still having a bit of hope, but in this team, we have to hope, especially with the CD Lamb on our bench for the next month.
Right. Yeah, I think. I don't know.
If we're moving,
I'd probably offer Pittman for Javonte pretty straight up.
I was gonna say, hold on, let me just check something here. Do you like getting Javonte or Brees more? Because Brees has had a couple dud games with Fields out. So the Pittman Javonte is pretty straightforward. They're pretty even from what I can tell.
Let me take a look and see what PlayerProfiler has to say. Yeah, it says Pittman's actually worth more, which I would probably agree with. But I think you have to add a little bit of a premium to get deals done. Let's see what we've got with Brees.
Definitely need to add.
Oh, yeah. And I think there maybe
like a second and a third, or a second and a fourth.
Are you saying in addition to Pittman, or?
Yeah.
I would think a second might be enough. Yeah, maybe. Probably to make it really truly appealing, second to fourth.
Then a fourth.
Let
me see what our friends over at PlayerProfiler say on this one. Yeah, I mean they seem to say the third is probably more. Along the proper value, it's probably even with the third. So it's probably somewhere. It's probably somewhere in the middle. So I think like for us to go after a guy like Brees, the nice thing is he's had a couple duds, but I still feel like we probably have to overpay a little bit.
Yeah, I'm fine sending Brees a second and a third.
All right, let's do that for Brees.
A second and a third.
Let me just see something with Hall. Yeah, I mean, he just played Buffalo and Tampa Bay.
Right.
Pretty solid defenses. All right, let's send that one. Did we send Javonte? No, we haven't yet, right?
No. Let's maybe see what the Brees one.
Yeah, that's totally. Yes, that's why I asked you. Do you have a guy you prefer going after? For me, it's definitely Brees. So in that case, let's see. If he likes that deal. If not, we can always send the Javonte one.
Yep. And we could also look at Lance has Alvin Kamara. I think let's see what comes back on these. But if we don't get any movement on what we've sent out, we could also do like a second and a third.
What team is he? How do you want it?
No, he's Lord Kratos.
Oh, okay, that is him. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's his deal right now in the league? So he is 2-1, top 5.
Yep. Yeah, he may not want to move him just because he's in the running and he's, that's really his third running back. But you never know.
I mean, he's stacked at tight end. He's pretty deep at receiver. This one would have to. This one would need a lot of maneuvering to make happen, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right.
All right, you know what? Let's leave that one.
Okay.
I like that offer. Let's go to our. Before we go to this team, actually, to the depot. Oops, left that on the screen there. So we got a question from Matthew Parker. What do you think of Lamar and Drake London for Josh Allen and Odunze? I think that's like a swap. Those are swaps. I don't like those for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair offer.
I think if it's offered to me and I prefer the other side over my own, I'll accept it. But I don't like sending those type of offers because you're basically telling the other owner that you prefer his 2 guys over your 2 guys. So for him to accept it doesn't really make sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those. Hey, I'm gonna give you a better quarterback and a little bit lesser of a wide receiver for the opposite. But hard to say.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're sending that, Matthew, or you're receiving that. If you're receiving it and you like one side over the other, I would take it. But if you're sending it, I would try to look at the other team's weaknesses, your team's weaknesses, and kind of go about it that way, as opposed to just swapping guys out. So Landon is asking, should I do Jacobs for Etienne and Olave? My wide receivers are cooked, and I've got Bijan and Scadaboo. I don't hate that.
I don't hate it. The issue is if Tootin ends up pushing more and more into ETN, you could end up regretting that. I do like Olave as a buy low. The guy is getting absolutely flooded with targets.
37 targets, yeah.
Yeah, so that part of it's great. I think ETN would make me a little bit nervous. He does say he's got Bijan and Scadaboo, so he can get by. I don't know. That's kind of a hey, if you're feeling it, it's probably fine. ETN is going to be a free agent at the end of this year. So he's hopefully going to go someplace nice with a nice little contract, but hard to say.
I might take that deal. I don't know what the rest of your roster looks like, but I think if you're hurting at receiver, I don't know if he's got kind of a younger, better option at running back to get back, but I feel like you're getting pretty nice value. Let's face it, Jacobs is getting up there on mileage, age, and as much as I love that offense, I think that if you can swap it and you still got Bijan, Scadaboo, obviously he's going to start being in your lineup more regularly now. I don't hate it.
Yeah, it's fine. If it was proposed to you, you might see if you can get a little extra. If you're doing the proposing, then that's probably about right.
All right. Appreciate the questions, guys. What's up, Best Ball? Appreciate you joining, brother. Always love having you in the live chat.
Yeah.
So,
and just to follow up with Matthew Parker, he says, do you think Drake London is going to get better, and do you think that Rome will continue to do well? I do think Rome will continue to do well. I think London will get better. It's just...
Is the question London doing better, or is the question Penix doing better?
Right, exactly. Because the problem is London is tied to Penix, and the nice thing is you do have Kirk Cousins as a backup option there, and I think Kirk Cousins, another year removed from that Achilles, is probably going to be a better quarterback than he was last year. So there's definitely hope for London, but Rome is, I believe, the younger player, and personally, I like Lamar over Josh Allen. I think Lamar is just absolutely the number one quarterback in Dynasty football. Josh Allen is running less and less. He's having to pass less and less. That offense is really starting to go through James Cook right now. So getting, if I think that London is good enough that if I have the chance to have Lamar, I'm going to take London and give up Odunze to do it.
All right, let's get back to it here. We got one more team, FFPC-wise, another 500 Dynasty League, one quarterback, the Dynasty Depot Masters League. And there's another one we've been in for a few years now, Dan. We've done fairly well. I'm so bad at remembering our records in these, Dan. Do you remember?
Yeah, this is the league that we've never, like Hardway, we've won before. This one we finished I think second twice and third once, or something like that. We've never won the title though, so we're still looking for that first title in this league. And our team is Well, we're still a playoff team, but I think that says more about some of the other teams than it says about ours.
Yes.
I don't think anybody's,
Yeah, we're in fourth right now in this team. Like when you're looking at victory points and, total points scored, all that kind of stuff. Second in our division. So we've got Lamar and Jordan Love. We've got Bucky Irving. Very light at running back. So you guys are going to see a theme here with our teams. We invest highly in other positions and then we figure it out at running back. But we've also made some pretty successful trades, Dan, in season that have gotten us, to fill those plugs. I know Najee is a guy. I think was it last year that we bought Najee in the league, and that helped us quite a bit. Again, you see we're pretty solid at tight end with Ertz, Hunter Henry, Juwan Johnson, Loveland, and then Sanders. So very solid at tight end. That might be something we look for. Like for me, I'd go look for the teams that are hurting at tight end or need some tight end help, just with the 5 pieces that we have there. And then Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Malik Washington, Keyshawn Butte, and Hunter Renfrow. So receiver not that strong. We've got our 2 studs that we can start every week confidently, but we're really relying on the tight ends here. So there's a lot of ways we can approach this, Dan.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got Aaron Jones on IR, so hopefully he comes back. We also have Jaden Reed on IR. He will be probably a longer time returning. We have Colston Loveland as a 4th tight end in this league. So, even with our 3 tight ends that we're starting, we still have a really good young tight end in reserve. So we've got some pieces we can move. We've got all our picks yet. So let's see what we can do here. I think let's take a look at the Res team.
Is that a new owner?
Yeah. I'm not sure who he took over from.
So he literally has 1 tight end, David Njoku. So that could, and he's got a bunch of running backs. He's got Swift, Jordan Mason, Judkins. Obviously Eckler's out. Guerendo's been demoted. So really, you were looking at probably Jordan Mason. Swift is not necessarily a guy I want to be buying right now, personally. Right. Plus, it's another team where we have Aaron Jones.
Right. So Jordan Mason definitely makes a lot of sense for us.
Actually, I have an idea. Let me just see what the value is like.
I think a second one of our tight ends would more than do it.
You're talking one of our, the Ertz or Hunter Henry guys, Juwan?
Right. Yeah, I think Hunter Henry. I think if he's on a second and Hunter Henry, that might do the deal. I mean, he's a good solid tight end, so don't really want to give up Colston Loveland unless, if we're trying to make a play for Quinshon Judkins, then I would look at putting Loveland in the deal and doing something else like that.
We do have Dylan Sampson.
Right. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. But I think we could do a second and Hunter Henry for Mason. Judkins is probably going to be Loveland plus something.
Yeah, not much though. Like maybe a third. Maybe more.
I think we'd probably have to go a second on that, just because Judkins is already, he's already doing well, and Loveland has yet to fire.
Yeah, the time to buy Judkins was before, but I mean, at least now you know his situation. You know.
Yeah. I think we could do Loveland in a second for Judkins if we wanted to.
Do we have a preference on those two guys? Like, I feel like I'm good with either one. We could send both offers.
Yeah, I mean, if we could get Judkins, I think that would be ideal.
Okay. Do you want to send that first? The reason I worded it that way, Dan, is I know how much. I mean, we both love Loveland, but the problem is these FFPC leagues. It's hard to keep guys like that on the bench, you know, and be competitive.
Yeah.
So if you can get yourself a solid starter like that, I'm fine doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So you want to start with Loveland and a second?
Yep.
For Judkins? Okay. Let's do that, and then we'll see how that goes. Sometimes we'll send a couple offers, like I said earlier, just to, you know, it's nice to give the other owner options. There's a higher chance of getting a deal done, but if there's a way you prefer going with your offers, then send the one first, see how that goes, and then you can readjust.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Let me go back to my league page here. Bluto is 0-3.
Yep. And we can also look at Cavalry Golden Tanks, who we just did a deal with. He's also in this league.
Yeah, he's clearly he's either watching or just in the leagues looking, Dan. So, I mean, he's another guy that could use tight end. He's got Kyle Pitts, and then he's got Jake Tongs, who hasn't necessarily. Yeah. So he's got Barkley, McCaffrey, Henderson, Scadaboo. Wow, he's got some pretty decent. This looks kind of similar to his other team, no? Even.
Yeah, we could probably do like a Loveland for Scadaboo, fairly straight up, I would think.
Yeah, that is pretty even on keep trade cut.
Okay. You
want to just send that?
Yeah, let's send that. See what happens.
The nice thing is it's youth for youth.
Yep.
And I mean, with Dart coming in, I know they have a tough schedule, but if this does turn around a bit for the Giants, this guy could really, really pop. And I mean, Loveland fits nicely, you know, with a hole he's got at tight end.
Yep.
All right. Another trade sent. What was the other one? Taco Core and Bluto were the other two that I was. So Taco Core also only has Andrews and Arroyo at tight end, so he could definitely use some help at tight end.
Yep. Yeah, nobody in this league has very many good tight ends because we have most of them.
Yeah, true. Very true. Which comes in handy when you're in a position like this where you need to fill other positions, you know?
Yep, exactly.
So Chase Brown is possibly a buy right now. I mean, he's got Joe Brown. He's got Joe Burrow, so maybe he's stacking. But maybe he's willing to. I mean, we talked about this on the show. Would Chase Brown a buy for you right now, or buy low, or are you worried about it?
I'm a little bit worried about it. For this team, I think I would probably go a different way.
Like Demont or Javonte?
Yeah, probably lean more into Javonte. Yeah, probably Javonte. With Bluto, we could look at Chuba Hubbard or Tony Pollard.
What are you thinking for Javonte?
Let's see.
We got to add something to either Hunter or Ertz.
Yeah, I'd probably, given that we have Jaden Daniels and McLaurin's out, I think Ertz will probably hang on to. He's going to have the least trade value to anyone.
Actually, Javon's actually closer to value to Javonte. Juwan Johnson.
Juwan Johnson?
Yeah. According to this, I mean, you could throw like a fourth.
Yeah, I'd probably say you need to throw a fourth in, but Juwan plus a fourth or something like that.
We don't have a fourth, so it's either a third or a fifth.
No, really?
Unless we do a swap.
Oh, I thought we had all our picks. I guess we sent out a fourth at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could
do Javonte in a third and then get a fourth back.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, that feels like I don't know. We'll see. We can send that.
What don't you like about it?
I'm just not sure if he'll go for it. I mean, I love it from our end. So.
Well, then should it just be let me just say something.
Yeah, just let's send that as a starting point. If he hates it, he hates it.
I mean, a third is not like super overpay either. Could get a fifth back.
Okay. Yeah,
do that?
Maybe do that.
Okay.
Sure. Yep, that works.
There we go. Fifth back. He's got a lot of fourths, so switch it up for him.
Yeah.
So Javonte and a fifth, and then we're sending a third with Juwan Johnson.
Yep. And we could also try just I hesitate to even suggest this because I've hammered on Mr. Bill Krosky Merritt, but we do have Chris Rodriguez. The problem is some people are just totally unreasonable about what the valuation of him should be.
Well, how do you like, my problem with this backfield is just too many heads, you know what I mean? Like it's like a three-headed monster, and unless more injuries happen or this kid just really pops.
Right. Yeah, basically what we'd be doing is holding on to two of the heads and hoping it's not the third one that pops.
We'd have three of them because we have Rodriguez and McNichols.
Oh, we got McNichols too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we would corner the market, but do we want to corner the market? That's the question.
Galaxy Pickers, we see your question, man. We'll get to it. Let us just finish this team here. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those, like it's so tough, man. I'm trying to stay away from that backfield, but I mean, JCM is the one with the most upside.
Right.
I mean, what would you send?
It's
just like I don't know what we're sending that's enticing to him.
Right.
He's got, I mean, his receivers are, Evans is hurt. He's got McLaurin, Sutton, Judy, and Downs aren't doing much. Alec is looking pretty decent.
Maybe we just leave that one and we'll come back to it later if we really need to.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. I mean, we've got a couple decent offers out there. Keep checking my phone just in case one of these gets accepted. We got spoiled on that one, that got accepted right away. So now I'm.
Yes, we did.
The other thing is with JCM is who'd they play this week? They've got a pretty tough matchup at Atlanta, and then they go to the Chargers.
Yeah.
Might be worth waiting to buy.
Right. Yeah, the price could definitely go down.
All right, what was the other one? Bluto 5?
Yeah, Bluto 5.
So he's got James Cook, Chuba Hubbard, Pollard, Tyrone Tracy, Brashard Smith, Justice Hill. He's got Bryce Young, so maybe he's stacking Hubbard and Young. Tight ends are Ferguson and Schultz. I mean, Ferguson's crushing life right now. I think he's third or second in the league in targets.
Yeah. Yeah, Ferguson is he's really, probably fine at tight end. Schultz is an okay backup. I'm sure he's planning on riding Ferguson here. So I'm not sure, other than picks, what we'd have to offer this guy.
Receivers: Jameson, Ridley, Pearsall, Mayers, Cup, Horton. I mean, pretty solid.
Yeah.
Nico.
Yep. Yeah, unless we want to go like, Loveland for Hubbard, but that doesn't really excite me too much. I'd rather just hang on to Loveland, I think. So maybe we just kind of see what
Let's see what comes out of what we offered. We've got, 3 offers out? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
we've
good.
got ideas for a couple more, so.
Yeah, that's good. All right, we've got some questions from the chat. Are we going to look at the money league, Dan, or should we end it at keep it FFPC for this one?
Yeah, I think probably keep it FFPC for this one, since
Okay.
we're already up at $1.45 or whatever.
All right, let's go. We'll answer some questions. Make sure you guys smash that like button. We appreciate that little support, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll try to get these out a bit more regularly. Of course, we've got the GOAT District High Stakes Fantasy Show on the weekly playbook every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We've got the Week 4 playbook out already. Make sure you go check that out on YouTube and on Spotify and your favorite podcast platform. So Galaxy Pickers, would you trade CD and Worthy for JSN and Godwin? So it's another one of these swaps. I'm not a big fan of these swaps, Dan. I get what's happening here. You've got like CD, Worthy's coming back, JSN is in, Godwin's coming back. I mean, they're not my favorite type of trades.
I like getting JSN, but CD and Worthy is too much for JSN and Godwin.
100%. If I have to pick between the two sides, I'm taking the CD side. But right. I would try to look at your strengths, weaknesses, look at your opponent's strength and weaknesses, and try to work a deal that way, kind of like what Dan and I are doing as we would talk through the trades that we've offered today.
Yep.
So we got another one, Semkebs 38. Would you give Igbuka for Mayers and Quentin? I would not.
Absolutely not.
There's no way I would send that. I'm thinking that's redraft, maybe? That can't be
maybe.
done. Maybe it's redraft, and maybe you need depth. That's the only way I could see that. It says full PPR redraft. Apologies. He's got it right here.
Okay.
Yeah, I would not do that. I wouldn't send Igbuka right now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'll put it this way: it makes a little bit more sense in redraft than it does in Dynasty, but I still don't love it.
No, I think Igbuka is just he's too good. Last week he was kind of not 100%. He came in and the guy's ridiculous, man. He's making some. He's going to be a first, second round pick. My guess is next year going into the season. So I don't know that I'm trading him right now. I'm all about sell high and buy low, but there's certain guys you just don't sell.
Yeah, Myers is going to get volume. I'm more confident in him. Quentin Johnson, you just kind of wonder if the wheels might fall off at some point. It's been a nice ride so far. He has shown steady progression throughout his career. So it could work out, but this is also one that I could see blowing up in your face.
If you have any other pieces that you can move, look for his strength. I wouldn't sell one of my better guys in Igbuka because he's saying that he's starting Chubb in his flex right now and he's trying to fill a flex. But there's got to be someone else that you can sell right now that fills a void.
Pick up Tyquan Thornton for and get through a couple weeks with him as your flex.
Work that waiver wire. Make sure you have Woody Marks on your team as well, so that you can slide him in once Chubb's not necessarily taking the bulk of that volume. I think he'll eventually pop.
Yep. Yeah, I would go about it a different way.
Agreed. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Dan, this is always a blast. We actually get some trades done, and we get to look through our teams together. So it's kind of nice. We killed two birds with one stone. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Oh, let's see. We got a rejection from Calvary Golden Tanks on that last offer. So he accepted a trade offer and he rejected one. But that's the name of the game. We'll go back and is that one of the ones that we were waiting for to see if we sent another one? Let me just remember which one this was again.
That was
Loveland for Scatterbo trade. Yeah.
So with him, let's just double check real quick. Yeah,
appreciate that, Galaxy.
Yep.
All right, you know what? Let's leave it at that, Dan. You and I can look at it as I got to go through all our lineups anyways before tonight's game, so we can take a deeper dive into some of these rosters. I think we got a good number of volume of proposals out. We got one done. We went through 3 of our rosters on the FFPC. If you're not already in the FFPC, use DR Baller, DRBALLER. You'll get a discount off your first team. But yeah, this was fun, Dan. Always appreciate chopping up the Dynasty streets with you, especially trades. And make sure you guys tune in, like I said, every Tuesday night. If you haven't tuned in this week, it's out there right now. And Dan, you have Empire coming out is Tuesday morning, right? 11? Fantasy Empire.
Tuesday mornings at 11 every week. Myself, Chris Vaccaro, Nelson Sousa, Matt Modica. We get out there and chop it up. We take a look at the week that's just happened, the week that's upcoming, whatever's newsworthy, and how we're reacting as high stakes players, and where we think things are going.
Yeah, great content. Make sure you guys check that out, guys. Make sure you're following Dan at Overhyped Sleeper, no E on the end. I'm the Draft Room Baller at Draft Room Baller on the X Machine. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Good luck week 4. We'll check you all later.
District, you know the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text. That trash offer's the best. You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man. Y'all know what to do. It's the and I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them.